Good morning, good evening, good night, good day, good afternoon to everyone watching from all over the English-speaking world. 'Tis I, Mike Martins, your housing discussion guru. Just here to shoot the breeze, talk about housing and where things are headed in the trends in the housing market. But buckle your seatbelts, guys, because I got a great show for you guys tonight. Today is the 9th of August. Wow. The 9th of August, 2018. And it's going to be an action-packed show. Is it? Wow, it's already August. I can't believe the year just shot by like that. Ooh. I got my my boy William Borg here, tuning in from Stockholm, Sweden. I hope Stockholm is in Sweden. I hope I'm right. Anyways, it is hot, guys. I'm wearing an undershirt and I'm wearing my boxer shorts. Because right now in this room, it is 34 degrees centigrade. That is about 107 Fahrenheit, 105 Fahrenheit. And it is a hot one out there, guys. So please bear with me. I'm going to be drinking water from time to time. It is hot, and my vision blurs when I'm reading. So it is the 9th of August, 2018, and we're past, like, the year is just, we've got one quarter left, and one good quarter left, and where's the year going, guys? And then before we know it, it's 2020. Oh my God, help me, please. Okay, guys, let's kick this off. Trends in the housing market. You want it, you got it. You came here for discussion. Guys, don't forget to roll through the comment section, please. I appreciate it. I want to do a quick plug here to the Lost Canuck. Lost Canuck is a two-time world champion here on the YouTube, Segways, or the YouTube LimeWire, or whatever you want to call it. He's on YouTube. He's online. He's on the web. He's been tackling and discussing a very delicate situation, and that's pensions. Pension fraud. Stealing from pensions to bail out companies. Check out Mario DeCetti's if you get some time, guys. He is really good. He is worth the time. Believe me, he is a great person, a good friend, a personal friend of mine. And I hope he comes and visits me soon. And let's move on. And if you guys are just tuning into my channel or figuring out what's going on with my personal life, Rose and I are not getting married this year. Yes, you heard right. We are not getting married this year because we're having a baby. So she is 3 months pregnant, and we've decided to hold the wedding off till next summer. She wants to shed some weight, lose some weight. She wants to feel good. She wants to fit into a beautiful dress. So I want to make her dreams come true. So everybody in the comment section rolling through. Trevor, Donald G in the comment section. M, and M, congratulations. Thank you. Guys, remember, it is 37 degrees centigrade in here, or 34 degrees centigrade. It's a hot one, guys, but I got to get the show on the road and kick off tonight's show. Don't forget to check out Mario DeCetti's The Lost Canuck. Let's move on to our first article, guys. So, motivated seller! It's my favorite line. I mean, if I was going to change my name, and I was going to have a new name or something, I would change my name to Motivated, and my last name would be Seller. I'd walk up places and say, "Oh, hi, Motivated Seller. How are you?" Anyways, working on it's in the comment section. Is she on a diet? Do you guys have a weight room? Oh, we have an entire gym in the whole house. Check out my Living the Dream series, guys. Living the Dream series. I have a full gym with all the machines and the mirrors on the wall. It feels like you're in a gym. A gym. A Homer Simpson would say gym. G-Y-M. Anyways, very few people will understand that joke, because very few people were alive when that episode came out. Okay, guys. I've been saying Australia is going to crash first, and it's been crashing, it's been dipping, it's been slipping, and it's been falling. Same thing with New Zealand. But I think the U.S. is going to go before anything else, because right now, the way things are headed in U.S., with the motivated sellers, right? That's the first trigger. Second stage, okay? This is by John Rubino, okay? He's a gold features expert, portfolio strategist. So let's see what John Rubino has to say here. In the U.S. housing bubble enters stage 2, suddenly motivated sellers. Housing bubble proceed in fairly predictable stages. Stage 1 is long and initially slow, fueled by excess central bank money creation or foreign demand or some other source of liquidity that encourages large numbers of people to buy houses. At first, sellers remember the peak price from the previous bubble and aren't willing to sell at anything less than that. So remember 2007, 2008, the huge fiasco that happened? In finance speak, they're anchored at the highest price they could have gotten last time around. So demand initially outstrips supply, causing home prices to rise, slowly at first and then explosively as increasingly desperate buyers become willing to pay any price. So you saw that happen in Vancouver, you see that happening in Sydney, you see that happening in Auckland, and you see that happening in London. And this started happening like 7-8 years ago in these countries, right? So, in these cities, right? So demand initially outstrips supply, causing home prices to rise slowly at first, then explosively, and increasingly desperate buyers become willing to pay the price, while mortgage lenders, seduced by fat fees and confident that they can securitize and offload any kind of dicey mortgage, lower their standards to include pretty much the whole of society. So you walk in, hey, you're walking and talking, you got a mortgage, stand right there. Well, sir, I'm here to pay my electricity bill. You got a mortgage, stand right there. Sir, I just have to pay my electricity bill and I'll be on my way. You sit down right here, sir, have a free drink, you got a mortgage. And that's what's happening. Stage 1 usually ends up with price spikes in the hottest markets so extreme that they generate headlines like these. San Diego home prices spike. Home prices spike near Marietta, SoCal. Medina hits record level. Orlando home prices spike 10% annually in April. Another month, another record for Denver home prices. Ooh, Denver's in a lot of trouble right now with the amount of Californians leaving and heading to Colorado. You have no idea, people. In Nevada, in Arizona, in New Mexico, and Texas. Phase 2 of the typical U.S. housing bubble begins when sellers read these headlines and note that prices are now above what they could have gotten in the last bubble, with memory of how badly during the subsequent bust they'd wish they'd sold at peak, still reasonably fresh. So they feel this, like, I can make this. Sorry, guys, it's hot. Oh, God, it's hot. Cheaper, less place. The cost on real estate riches. So they call a realtor and list their house, as do a bunch of their neighbors. Supply out the blue jumps. Supply out of the blue jumps. So supply jumps out of the blue, basically. That may be what's happening now. The housing shortage may be turning warning of a bubble, a price bubble. CNBC. The most competitive, tightest housing market in decades may finally be loosening its grips. And that could put pressure on overheated home prices. The supply of homes for sale in the second quarter of 2018, the all-important spring market rose at 3 times the rate of the same period in 2017, according to Trulia, the real estate listings and research company. The inventory jump was the largest quarterly improvement in 3 years and could be signaling a slight thaw in today's housing market, but it is just the start. This seasonal inventory jump was just enough to offset historical year-over-year downward trend that continued over 14 consecutive quarters. According to Alexander Lee, a housing data analysis for Trulia's economic research team, The supply of homes for sale is still down 5.3% compared to a year ago. Still, the real estate is local, and some markets are seeing greater relief. 30 of the nation's 100 largest cities, including New York City, Miami, Los Angeles, now have more supply than a year ago. So what's happening is more people are selling, trying to cash in or feel like, you know, they're making this big business decision and they're going to make money and they're going to cash in liquidity. You know what I'm saying? Of course, the increase is a double-edged sword. Supplies are increasing because the sales are slowing, and sales are slowing because prices are so high. In New York City, the median household spent about 65% of its income to buy a home, according to Trulia. In Los Angeles, it takes 59%. Wow. Among these unaffordable meteors, San Francisco posted the largest inventory growth of 22% year over year, wrote Lee. Compared that with the same quarter last year in Southern California, Metro registered 28% inventory decrease. Mortgage applications to purchase a newly built home have plummeted nearly 9% in June compared with June 2017, according to the Mortgage Banker Association. This suggests that lower new home sales going forward despite higher price. So look at this, 9 likes, barely gets any news on social media, and this is affecting every human being in an English-speaking country is being affected and being bought out completely by this housing market, or bought out into slavery, working overtime just to cover basic necessities like rent. So that's that for that article, and there's always a double-edged sword in every story. There's always something that people need to look at. Double-edged sword, side effect. Look at the side effect. What will happen in the long run with this that's causing right now? So this is from John Rubino, portfolio strategist. I've read some of his stuff on this page here, Seeking Alpha. Really good page. Okay, let's move on. This is from Australia. Why a deflating housing bubble is just as bad. This is kind of important, guys. It's from a week ago, but it's kind of important article. Belinda is in the comments section. Thanks for joining us. Hi, Mike. I think it's a battle between inflation and rising rates. Exactly. They are bankrupting us all. It's like a race to the top. It is. And it's always the working poor or the middle class that ends up losing in the end. And when it's time to bail out, it's the working poor's pensions and the middle class pensions that end up bailing out. And it's usually the people that didn't buy into this rat race that have to suffer for the others that did. So it's really sad the way things are headed in this really tricky economy that we're in, because it's a different economy. This is the first time in human history where the Canadian proper can't buy in their own cities, in their own major cities. They just can't afford it. American proper completely bought out of the West Coast, and New York and Massachusetts is suffering. Vermont is getting hit right now. Connecticut's getting hit right now. You know what I'm saying? So let's keep going here. Guys, don't forget to roll the comment section, guys. Don't be shy. Trends in the housing market, guys. For the 9th day of July, 2018. It was a sudden pop. So this is an article from Australia. Why deflating housing bubble is just as bad. It was a sudden pop. Then everything spiraled down. Until then, the economy had been booming. Credit had been flowing, and there was money everywhere. Property prices had taken off, spurring by high immigration and investors. Construction had skyrocketed. All you saw and looked in the high horizon were cranes. House prices kept appreciating in gigantic steps. Who cared if salaries weren't following the same pace? Until one day it all came crashing down. Let's be clear. I'm talking about Spain. Its property boom and crash that followed in 2008. So, I don't know why, but Australia has been following the whole Spain crash like every word, like following it like biblical, every word of what happened. And they're comparing their crash or their Australians' housing market to Spain's crash. I've received many emails from people down under who sent me articles about Spain. I've read quite a few of them. Those massive abandoned pre-builts. They never even get built. Thousands of them. They're trying to be like Portugal, like the Algarve, but they didn't make it. You know what I'm saying? So let's keep going. Australia has also seen a boom of property in the last years. According to CoreLogic, the country has seen a 31% increase in property in the last 5 years. And while properties have been soaring, salary growth has plummeted at the same period. Now things are slowing. But differently from Spain, the property bubble isn't popping, but slowly deflating. Yes, it could be just as bad. The fall is starting to gain momentum. As you can see in the graph below, national prices have declined 0.6% in the last month and 0.9% in the last quarter and 1.6% in the last year, according to CoreLogic. This is the fastest annual decrease rate since 2012, with now Melbourne leading the fall in the last quarter. So Melbourne's fall is going to bring the average benchmark price across Australia down, because that's what's keeping the rest of Australia looking expensive benchmarkly across the board, right? Across every state. Now, Sydney's got a 0.6% month. A quarter is 1.1%. So when you're saying, Mike, it's just 1.1%, on $1 million or $1.8 million, that's a lot of cake you're losing. You're losing a lot of cake. And Canberra, Canberra's in the pluses. Hobart's just flatlined at 0. Darwin's in the plus. And values somewhat, you know why? I'll tell you why. The quarter is down a bit, but the reason why they're not as down in some cases is because a lot of people left Sydney to go to Darwin, Hobart, and Canberra, where things were less expensive, right? A lot less expensive. I mean, hugely less expensive. So the nationals right here is 0.6% to 0.9% on the quarter. That's 1.6% annual. So that's the total return of 1.9%. It's still in the plus for now. That both markets are falling in a big deal. Both capital cities make up 40% of Australia's total housing stock and 60% of housing wealth. My suspicion is that this is only the beginning. Why? Well, for some supply increase. Data from CoreLogic shows that in the last 28 days to 22nd of July 2018, the total number of listings in nation was 108,436. This is 7.2% higher than last year and higher number of listings since 2012. You can see below. So here it is here. Where is our... Oh, let's open this in a window. Hold on a second here. Okay. So there's the listings here, and I think... Oh, okay, so they broke down every major city with listings. Okay, total listings. So it's going down here. So you see, this probably would be Sydney. This would be Melbourne here, if I'm not mistaken, guys. Oops. If I'm not mistaken. It's not giving me a legend here, but I think it's what it's trying to talk about is what this graph is trying to teach me or show me. Every year, basically, of every quarter of every major city. So the total listings here. So they're dropping, they're plummeting. Look at 2017. Look at that, early 2018. Wow. So that's what it's showing me there. That's what I'm depicting it as. In Sydney, we are seeing something similar over the past 28 days and 22nd of July. There were 26,000 properties for sale, 21.7% higher than last year, most since 2012. So these are total listings again. Let's open this in a better view. So this total, wow. Now this 2018 is creeping up right there, August, September, right here. There's 2018. Okay, I see this is what it is, by year. Total listings by year. I get it. So 2012. So it's following the same patterns. I get it, guys. I'm sorry for earlier there. There you go. That's by the year. I'm sorry. That's by year. I was reading it wrong. There's the listings plummeting. I get it now. There it is. That's by year. So there's 2018 right here. Lots of inventory on the market there in 2013, 2012, and it moves over. And as you see, the inventory kind of plateaus there in 2018. Listings are dropping. And in Melbourne, there are a total of 30,029 properties. This is 10.5% more listings since last year, at the highest number since 2014. Wow. So let's look at here, open window. So let's look at last year. What color is last year? 2017 is right here. Right there. You see 2017? So it's less listings than last year. Oh, no, it's this one here. Sorry. This is really hard to read, guys. Sorry. But that's that. All the numbers, wavy lines. And with construction still going strong, we will see even more supply come onto the market. The supply on the market, it's going to just deteriorate housing prices. There's going to be a lot more to choose from, to pick from. Pickers and choosers. It will be a buyer's market, but not yet. Just give it a little bit of time. Give it some room. It's deflating, like this article is saying. As CoreLogic reported, unit construction remains well above average across most states, and it is at record highs across Victoria and South Australia, and only marginally below the record high in New South Wales. The question is, how much further will it go? How much further down will it go? Tim Lawless, CoreLogic, think the trend is close to stopping. Okay, let's see what he has to say. We don't see any factors that may halt or reverse the housing market trajectory of stable declines over the second half of 2018. The availability of housing credit has been a significant factor in contributing to the slowdown. However, there are a variety of hurdles contributing to slow conditions. Well, remember, guys, massive capital outflow from China has been stopped. Australian proper have left the major cities to smaller towns. The wagons west, from east to west, wagons west. Tightening lender restrictions from banks. Banks are starting to take accountability on the crap they put on the books. Yeah, and a ton of interest-only mortgages are going to be coming up for renewal soon. And if prices drop, people are going to be paying for more for a house than what it's worth, leaving hence underwater. So this is a really long article, guys. This is a really long article, and let's see what here. You will see prices falling. There is no pressure to rush in and buy. That's exactly what I said. A slow downturn could mean that a lot of people wait to see how much further prices will fall before entering the market, especially if sellers are the ones feeling the pressure. We already starting to see that in Sydney. So, guys, the article's here if you want to see it in its entirety. It's by year here, guys. I'm really sorry I read it wrong. These colors represent by year, and 2018 is here in black. So you can see where inventory is moving in total listings. This is crucial when you're mapping out the trend in the housing market in Australia. You need these numbers. This is a very good ammunition to have with you when buying. Guys, do your own research, guys. Don't listen to what I have to say. I don't know anything. I have a grade 6 reading level. Just take your time. Research. It's fun researching this stuff, understanding how these markets work and why they work, either in favor of you or working against you. Let's move on, guys. Let's go to the comment section. Is anybody in the comments today, guys? Hello, there's a lot of people watching. This show gets a lot of replayability. Whew. My last trends in the housing market from last week got just over 1,000 views in a matter of a week, which is pretty good for a small fry like me. And it means a lot to me, you guys tuning in and kind of debating what's going on. It's a trend. It's got to go one way or the other. I mean, following the breadcrumbs, you'll get to what is really happening here, And guys, don't be shy in the comment section. Don't worry. Don't panic. It's all good. Okay, this is a really important one. I kind of wanted to bring this up. This one's from this article's also from last week. Mind you guys, 34 degrees. 34 degrees here in my room. Celsius, centigrade. So I'm feeling it. I'm in my boxer shorts and in my undershirt because it's so hot in here. But the show must go on. Donald G, when is the crash? When is the crash in Canada, Mike? Well, it's happening right now as we speak. Right now, a lot of real estate agents don't know if they're tricking or treating. They're not sure if they should sell. The real estate agents are not sure if they should start flipping the coin and saying, hey, prices are going down. Now is the time to buy. Because a lot of real estate agents were on the fence with prices will keep going up. If you don't buy now, you'll never own in your life. You'll never own in your life. That crash is happening around us. And it's not necessarily a crash. It's the last article I read. Deflation. We're going through a deflationary housing period. And it's just as bad as a crash. So I wanted to clear that up. If you're just tuning in, go to the last article, people. It talks about deflationariness happening because it's a very different housing market. And if you look at the trends from the last few crashes worldwide in the housing sector, you will see that this is a very specific, special housing market right now. It's being fueled by so many other things. Back in the 80s, the bank will never give you a penny if you didn't qualify. Now, you walk in to pay your electricity bill, you're approved for a mortgage. And that's what's been happening, guys. Percy A is in the comments saying, hi, Mike, just turned into your awesome chat. Yeah, guys, comment below. Someone's saying, Trevor's saying that shirt scares us, Mike. Yeah, guys, it's so hot, man. I was going to go on shirtless, and I said, you know what? I'll probably get flagged for bullying. You know what I'm saying? So, Percy is in Santa Cruz now. Are you in Santa Cruz? Are you in Santa Cruz, Manila, Philippines? Santa Cruz, Mexico? Santa Cruz, Jalisco, sorry. Or are you in Santa Cruz, California? Anyways, I'm in Santa Cruz. And now houses that were 700 large 2-3 years ago are 1.2 million. It's insane. And then Trevor saying, I love you, bro. Love you, man. And, oh yeah, Persea's in California. Yes. Okay, so what's happened now is the Great American West Buyout. The entire west coast of the United States, I did a whole episode about it, going on MLS and, Zillow or whatever, and looking at housing prices from basically from Vancouver, British Columbia, or North Vancouver, British Columbia, all the way down to the border of Tijuana, Mexico, in San Diego. The Great American, I call it the Great American Economic Takeover. Yeah, I should make an acronym for that. Yeah. Anyways, so that's what's happening. A great massive buyout. We'll get to California really soon here, guys, in the articles. So this is a really good article too. I really want to share this with you guys because a lot of people forget history. Nowadays, our attention span is like, when it comes to history attention span, within a matter of 3 weeks, we forget. I just don't remember anymore. And it happens to most of us, you know. So many Americans ended up homeless during the real estate crisis 10 years ago. Here's where they are now. Nearly 10 million homeowners in the U.S. were faced with foreclosure of their homes between 2006 and 2014. 10 million homeowners. After the real estate bubble burst in 2008, many families in the U.S. found the cost of running their properties unmanageable. Between 2006 and 2016, nearly 10 million homeowners in America saw foreclosure sale of their own homes. Many had to give up their property to lenders or to short sell it as quickly as possible. After the real estate bubble burst in 2008, many families living in the U.S. found the cost of running their homes was no longer affordable, resulting in many of those people losing their homes. A widespread of consequences were that between 2006 and 2014, nearly 10 million homeowners in America saw the foreclosure sale of their own homes, which entailed having to give up their property to lenders or selling it as quickly as possible via emergency sale, according to the Suggest Zijikutu. Livelihoods were threatened, and the financial damage was colossal. Not to mention the emotional damage suffered by victims of the crisis. A 2014 study shows the correlation between the crisis and increased suicide rate. But where are the victims of the real estate financial crisis now? How victims of the real estate crisis are doing today? The pain faded over time, explained Carl Richards, one of the many who fell victim to the financial crisis and was forced to sell his home. Despite a financial advisor, he also fell prey to the real estate bubble. The Richards family decided to join the same chic lifestyle trend everyone around them seemed to be following. They bought a beautiful Las Vegas property with a palm tree in the front door on credit. It's easy to justify it when everyone else is doing the same thing, Richard said. Remember, guys, be your own leaders. Don't follow. Don't follow people. Lead. Even today, the shock and the sense of having failed, which Richard details in his book on financial planning, Behavior Gap. I'm not sure if you guys know that, but it's got to do with properly paying improperly paying for items by following trends of others and thinking it's the right thing to do. Still resonate deeply. Fortunately, he said, his family decided well ahead of many others to short sell their house, saving them from insolvency. It took several years for the family to recover from the consequences of the financial crisis and everything it brought with it. And it took even longer for them to feel ready to buy a home again. But comparatively, they got off lightly. Today, the Richards have largely recovered from the consequences of the financial crisis, and fortunately, most of other U.S. citizens have as well. So it took 10 years to heal this, right? I mean, that's a decade, right? The real estate prices in the U.S. have risen again. As well as real estate prices having risen, the American economy is currently showing positive trend and is at a historic low regards to unemployment, according to the That being said, the consequences of the financial crisis are still felt and shown by steadily declining rate of homeowners, which only came to a standstill last year. Overall, the financial crisis has taught people and institutions alike a lesson in becoming more cautious. After every economic upswing, we know that there will be another downturn at some point. Remember, guys, it's musical chairs, right? Everybody, when the music stops, someone's missing a chair, right? That's how it works. So there's the article there, guys. I wanted to read this because people sometimes need a little bump in reality, or a little knock on the door. Because, remember, musical chairs. That's what it is, this housing crisis. Everyone's running around the chairs, the music is playing, music stop, everyone sits down, and there's one person that doesn't have a chair. And then the one chair gets removed, that person gets removed, and then there's one chair less. Everybody runs around, and then there's one less person without a chair. And that's how it works. Very simple if you want to actually put it into that kind of perspective. So, let's get back to the comments here. Okay, 88 Marks 86. Many of these homeless live in a car or small RV and camp near the beach. They dump their toilets on the street. Oh, wow, that's horrible. Then Perza A says, "What a crap hole California is now. I'd move in a heartbeat, but I'm very close to my family." And Mark says, "Persia, where will you go?" And then she replies saying, "Here's the truth about San Francisco. I'd go to Idaho, Arkansas, or Texas." Then someone says, "Good thing my parent paid the house in full." Good thing, yeah. Then Peter is saying, "People are even more indebted now than 10 years ago. Thankfully, I only owe 25. It says it's reconnecting here. I'm losing stream, guys. Okay, I'm back. I'm moving to Saskatchewan for a year, and a half and come back to check the housing market then. Yeah, a lot of people are uprooting and moving to somewhere more fair or more. People aren't asking for free housing. They're not, I want a free, no. There's people giving 67% of their income just to cover rent. Nobody wants free housing. People, they want it to be fair. They want it to be like it was the time of Ronald Reagan. You know what I'm saying? Let's move on, guys. Some breathing room. So I'm going to leave this one with you guys because I'm not going to read this one. This is actually a pretty good one that was sent to me. This is millennials finding a home buying. Okay, let's watch this video. So 10 years after the housing market crash, how Rochester is faring. Rochester is in New York. Rochester, New York. People don't know. Let's play this video here. How do we get this thing working? Oh.
Love the area.
Renting,
yeah. And I mean, it just got to a point where we wanted more space. I mean, downtown you can hear everything. Your neighbors are 5 feet away. So people above you, people next to you.
Oops, I clicked on the wrong thing here. Hold on, guys. Man, you click on the wrong thing here. Oh my god, it's the end of the world. Jeez. You click on something, it just automatically shuts down. Let's see what these millennials have to say.
About 5 years. Love the area.
renting,
yeah. And I mean, it just got to a point where we wanted more space. I mean, downtown you can hear everything. Your neighbors are 5 feet away. So people above you, people next to you, it's just right on top of you, essentially. So it's nice to, you know,
spread out a little bit,
yeah.
and then make an investment.
Right, because I mean we haven't been building equity. I mean I just turned 30. I was like kind of start time to building that equity up. You know, renting doesn't really go anywhere. You're not building anything up. We started looking probably, I want to say, dabbling in it probably around May, but not really looking into it until probably June.
Yep, it took a couple of months. You know, the market has been very crazy right now. It's definitely a seller's market. So,
right. So
we as buyers were at a point where we weren't even getting in to see homes, you know, before they were off the market. So that was frustrating at times.
Right, and I think we just had to keep realizing, don't just jump on something just to get something. So
take your time. We had the luxury of taking our time, which was great because we were renting.
We both kind of, I think, had our interests, you know, in different areas when we first started. Like I think you wanted to be more downtown, and I wanted more yard.
We compromised.
Yeah, we
now
definitely
we're only
compromised.
Like
yeah,
2 miles from the city.
Yeah,
a beautiful yard. So, you know, the expectation and the hope is to be here for, I don't know, 5 years, maybe more, maybe less. Who knows? But it's definitely not something that we have to move out of that will outgrow in a year or two.
That was a really good video, guys. You see the millennials are moving out of the cities too. Okay, let's close this thing. All right. So this is an interesting article. Yes, home sales are slowing. No, this isn't a crash. The sagging state of the U.S. home sales has generated some ominous headlines. The market appears to be headed for a broadest slowdown in years, Bloomberg reported recently. CNN warned of the fallout that could be an early warning signs of looming recession. If those words afflict flashbacks to the bad old days of 2008, though, relax. Housing doesn't really look like it's about to tank the economy. Not even close. Instead, we seem to be facing a different sort of problem. After years of depressed construction, there simply aren't enough homes on the market to satisfy all the would-be buyers out there, which is putting a lid on sales while pushing prices past what many can afford. The issue that is frustrating buyers is weighing on sales have been mounting for years. Home building collapsed during the recession, and even after a decade of recovery, it is still moving at snail's pace by historical standards. In the meantime, Americans have finally cleared the massive glut of single-family homes that was left over after the foreclosure crisis. The economy has improved, and aging millennials have begun trying to buy houses of their own. So it's good to see that the millennials are trying to get in, right? The end result, we have a housing shortage pretty much across the country, Lawrence Yoon, chief economist of National Association Realtors, told me. So it's a real estate agent, right? Which has created a nasty combo of lagging sales and climbing prices. Sales of previously owned houses, which make up roughly 9/10 of the residential real estate market, fell for the third straight month in June and now are down 2.2% for the year, according to NARA's latest monthly report. The housing shortage is hurting sales in two different ways. In some parts of the country, it just isn't very much to buy, but then properties do go on the market, they sell fast. Most homes are getting snapped up in less than a month after their owners plant a for sale sign on the lawn, according to NAR. In other parts of the country, values have risen so high that shoppers are starting to get priced out. It doesn't help matters that rising interest rates have pushed up the cost of a mortgage. The data of home sales is a little less discouraging. In June, sales of new single-family constructions technically dropped at an 8-month low, but the Census Bureau transactions data can be erratic from month to month. Over the term, sales have been trending higher for the past. They were up 2.4%. So here it is here. So this is one family homes sold in the United States. Look at this drop in 2007, 2008. Holy crap. So it's picking up. So it's nowhere near proportions of what it was back in 05, 06, if you see here, even early 07. So if volumes were to somehow start falling outright in pricey markets, it wouldn't necessarily be disaster either. The mid-2000s housing bubble was fueled by dodgy loans and speculation from house flippers, and needed constantly rising prices to keep from crashing. Today, the demand is being driven by normal households. I beg to differ on that, guys, because there's a lot of foreign investing happening on the West Coast, and it's pushing inward. How it's pushing inward is that a lot of people are uplifting and moving to somewhere else, right? People are moving east in the United States. Same thing in Canada. The Vancouverites are moving east into the province, like myself. I moved from Vancouver. I'm living in Merritt now. You know what I'm saying? In the the demand is being driven by normal households. I don't believe that. And lending standards are far higher, according to data from Moody's and Analytics. Subprime loans make less than 5% of a new mortgage balances, compared to 18% of the 2006 peak. If prices ease up after rising too high, it would be a sign of healthy, self-correcting market, not a collapse. The raising rates in the United States, they've been very... most banks have been very good when it comes to lending practices. A lot of the big banks kind of learned their lesson. Some of them are falling onto bad times and kind of putting crap... falling is... Woo! Would you date an Asian girl? I love these pop-ups from some friggin' spyware out of my computer. So that's that, people. Yes, home sales are slowing. No, it's not a crash. So I kind of see this in the U.S., but the thing is, a lot of it is fueled by foreign investing. A lot of foreign people, a lot of foreign money from Russia, China, India. Lots of money, like lots of money coming in. So that's one thing I needed to comment on that. Margaret O'Brien is in the comments section. Margaret, I saw a video the other day with Formifist Network and some old Australian guy. I forgot who he was. They were talking back and forth about housing. Was it you that commented, I've been following Mike Martins for the last, I don't know how many years, and everything he's been saying has been predicted right? Was that you, Margaret? I can't remember. Comment below, Margaret, if that was you in the comments there on that video with that Australian guy in Formifist Network talking about, and you commented how you've been following me and I've predicted everything that has happened. I might pull up that video, but I don't want to plug that other guy. I don't even know who that other guy is, right? So I don't know any of his material, right? I'm not saying anything bad. I just don't know what he's talking about, right? Okay, guys. This crap popping up. This is a very good peaks and values cycle, guys. I really want to bring this up. This is a very good article. It's very important that I read some of this for you guys. Yeah, Trevor and Maynard in the comment section saying credit is easy. Want a house? Want a car? Oh no! All you have to do is walk into your bank and pay off your electricity bill. That's all you have to do. Walk in with your electricity bill. Hi, I'd like to pay this. Sir, what are you doing here? I'm paying my. Nope. Have a seat. We have you approved for a mortgage. Yeah, I haven't worked in 10 years. Oh, well, have a seat. We got you for a mortgage. I just want to pay my electricity bill. Well, we got you approved for a mortgage. Have a seat, sir. So that's what was happening until a lot of banks. A lot of banks have been pulling that. Have a seat, sir. We got you approved. We're mailing you out something in the mail. We have you pre-approved for a $400,000 mortgage. Come in and check out our rates, you know. Donald G says, Mike, look up Capital Rev channel on YouTube. He predicted a lot of this, but was early to the party and doesn't post much these days. Oh, I'm gonna check him out later. I've been predicting this for 7 years now, 8 years. I think it's my 8th. Is it my 8th summer or my 7th summer? It's hard to tell because when I want to go back to my housing crisis videos, every time I go back to them, like 448 of them were deleted. Yeah, I'm not kidding. They were just deleted. There was so many of them in a row deleted. Like, I'm not sure if as time goes by, the earlier videos start getting deleted because they've been on for so long and they want to make space on the servers for YouTube. I mean, they should have a lot of space. They took down Alex Jones' channel. He had 10 years of content on there. Margaret O'Brien, yes, it was me. I find your analysis so easy to follow, and I thought I would give you a plug. Martin North of Digital Finance Analytics is the old Australian guy. That's correct. I'm not sure who he was, and I haven't seen any of his discussions on what he has been forecasting, but I'll check him out for sure. But Margaret O'Brien, thank you. You get a gold star. Thank you very much for bringing me up there and you know, making me look good. You know, I gotta look good once in a while. You know, I can't be getting trolled all the time, right? Yes, he has a YouTube channel called Walk the World. Yeah, we'll check him out. Oh, someone else is saying, Carla saying, hi, Mike. Martin North is great. I follow him. No BS. Good. We'll check him out. I'll plug him once in a while. And this is a very good one. This is a really good article, guys, and I'm going to get to it right now. It's from 2 weeks ago, but it's very important. Very important. Red flags that indicate real estate market crash. Motivated seller! I love that. It's hot, guys. It's like 40. It's 35 degrees in here, Celsius. And no, I don't have forced air conditioning in my house. I got a pile of ceiling fans in every room, but that's about it. I might get those, you know, those air conditioners that you put over your door and then the pipe goes outside and you could run multiple rooms. I might get one of those things because those things look really good and it looks affordable and it looks like it actually works. And it also produces heat. So you could balance out the heat in different rooms. I think I might do that. I might make a video series of that too. Joshua in the comment section says, imagine this. Fannie Mae says the older generation who are downsizing have homes too large for younger buyers, creating a void. What's the answer according to a realtor? Well, a realtor, I don't know, a realtor would probably say, oh, you will never grow out of this house. You'll never have to upgrade. I could picture a realtor saying, oh, buy this now. It's 10 bedrooms, but we only need 2 bedrooms. Yeah, but one day you might have kids. I can't have kids. Well, you never know. You might have a party. All right, let's keep going. Red flags indicate real estate market crash. Motivated seller. The housing market is hot. Prices are up. Inventory is down. The market is active. Many people are starting to become cautious of a real estate bubble. The past has revealed many red flags that would indicate a real estate market may very well crash. Here's the 18 great real estate market crashes on record. So, peaks in land value cycle. 1818 was the one peak. 1836 was the next peak, and it was an interval of from an interval of 18 years. Okay. And peaks in construction cycle was 1836, and peaks in business cycle was 1837. And then in 1854, again, interval years of 18. Peaks in construction cycle, 1856. Interval years of 20. 1872, 18 interval years. Peaks in construction cycle, 1871. 15 interval years. 1890, 18 interval years, 1892. Construction cycle, 21 interval years. 1907, 17 interval years. 1909, 17 interval years in business and construction cycle. 1925, 18 interval years. 1925. And peaks in business cycle, 1929, the Great Depression, the market crash. 1973, 48 interval years. 1972 construction cycle, 47 interval years. 1973 business cycle crash. 1979, 6 interval years. Not even much. Not even a big gap. 1978, 6 interval years in construction cycles. 1989, 10 interval years. Peaks in construction cycle, 1986, 8 interval years. 2006, 17 interval years. 2006, interval years 20, peak construction. December 2007, 2007, 18 interval years. So this is a really good forecaster, giving you the differentiations between the gaps between cycles and peaks and dips and valleys and crashes. Valley, dip. Okay, let's keep going here. Professor Fred Folledveri wrote in 1997, the next major bust is 18 years after the 1990 downturn. It will be around 2008. If there is no major interruption, such as a global war, he successfully predicted the crash would occur based on his prediction in the past. With the exception of World War II, there has been a constant peak in land values since the beginning of the 1800s, Professor Mason Gaffney characterized the cycle perfectly by commenting the bank credit swell and shrinks in such with land cycle. Buyers need more credit to purchase land. The appreciated land then serves as collateral for banks to loan. Rising interest rates. Currently, the rates are at a 4-year high. Mortgage rates have not reached 5% since 2011. Interest rates also have some correlation with the real estate markets. History shows that real estate interest rates tend to hit their highest after land values peak. Interest reached their peak at 6.7% in July of 2007, just after land value peaked in 2006, December. According to Freddie Mac, additionally, after land value peaked in 1979, interest rates hit their highest peak of 18.16%. That's vigorous. That's vigorously. That's very vigorous. Look it up. That's vig right there. Wow. 18.16% is so vigorous. Ooh, it's hot, guys. It's a hot one. Default rates increasing. Indicator that real estate crash is on the horizon are an increase in default rates. More than 860,000 families had their home foreclosed on in 2008. Additionally, between 1980 and 1985, foreclosed spiked about 300%. U.S. foreclosures dropped to a 12-year low in 2017, according to the Atom Data Solutions. There has been continuous drop since 2010. The amount of foreclosures, although nationwide foreclosures are down. A closer look shows that New York foreclosures auctions have reached an 11-year high. Legislation can be a factor. Yeah. And watch local markets. This is an important part right here. While many assess real estate markets as national standard, it's important to note that local markets can explain current conditions. For instance, total condo sales showed decline of 12 points in the final quarter of last year. With a decrease in condo sales and increase in foreclosures, this market is not a good example of the climate of the national real estate market. And so here it is, people. Really good, well-written article. Red flags indicate real estate market crash by Jordan. He covers real estate law from Forbes. Let's move on. Many Americans still feel the sting of the loss of wealth. I'm going to leave this with you guys. I'm not going to read it. But here is this one I want to show you. Hurt more at the bottom, recovered less. So right here is the bottom 50%. And then there's the middle 40% right here. And then there's the top 10%. Read this article, guys, when you get some time. It breaks down different theories of how the middle class and the working poor got hurt badly in this nightmare. So again, Ireland, house prices and rent soar. Ireland's biggest problem is the housing crisis, guys. $35 degrees centigrade in the room here. Margaret O'Brien says, Joshua, I see the next big thing becoming income property, where houses is divided up into a house or a flat for rent. Yeah. Remember that New Zealand article I read you? 40 people to a house, 40 people living in one house. Look it up. I'm not making it up. And then Carla says, Margaret, I think you called it. I think the same. Tyler D in the house. Margaret O'Brien, investment properties where the house is split into multiple apartments are nothing new. It's everywhere in Toronto. Oh, yeah, it's all over Toronto right now. People living with strangers and, you know. Double A, Mike, buy some AC units for your house. They can at least cool the room the room they are in. Yes, I'm going to get the ones that you put over the doors and stuff, the nice ones, and then you run the pipes outside and run. I think I have to run in this house. I think 3 systems in this house because there's too much square footage, right? The big issue is housing, that it isn't productive. That's true. Has not happened a lot in New Zealand yet. Margaret O'Brien saying. Then Roy says it's just shelter, except housing crash big time. Oh yeah, it's shelter. Remember, guys, we brought this up in like a few months ago. Maslow's hierarchy of needs. There's needs and wants. You need a shelter to protect you from rain and Mother Nature and storms and bad weather. You want a mansion. You need a little car to get you to work so you can pay your bills. You want a Ferrari. You need a coat to protect you from the rain. You want a fur coat. There's needs and wants, right? And people are forgetting the importance of understanding these different things. And Antonio's here.
Got my car.
Antonio's here. Oh, he's got chocolate all over his face. Wow, he's showing us his car. Look at that. Hold on. Yeah, Bish, hi. Hola. Yeah, just here with Antonio. And this is the reason why I left the city. I wanted to raise a family. Yeah. Okay, va para cima, va. Bye, I love you. Fecha a porta. That's my son coming to pay me a visit. I love it. I love it. I love it. Anyways, house prices and rent soar, Ireland's biggest problem in the housing crisis. Remember, guys, how bad things were getting in Ireland? Do you remember, guys? I read the article a few months back that employers are paying first and last month's rent for employees that graduate from university because they can't afford their first and last month's in damage deposit. That's how bad it is in Dublin right now. The biggest problem facing the government in Ireland right now is the housing crisis. With house prices and rents soaring, too many people cannot find a place to live they could afford. I think people living in Ireland should go to the Midwest of Ireland. I don't know. That's just my kind of answer to it. My answer to everything is just leave. Figure it out. Move. That's my answer to everything. The simplistic answer put forward by many opposition politicians is that the government must ramp up building of social housing. That has to be a part of the state response to the crisis, but the truth is that the problem is more complex and implicating people at both lower and the middle social levels, including those who in normal times would be able to provide their own homes. More social housing alone isn't going to fix the mess we're in. I don't think social housing is the answer, guys. I keep saying this, and I keep like a broken record. Excellent private sector, middle-class, well-paying jobs is the answer. Everybody gets a nice wage. The government comes in and taxes it, and people start buying homes, and they don't need low-income housing. And this creates a nice, stable economy. And then when you create that many jobs, obviously your exports are going to go up. Obviously your imports would go up. Obviously fabrication would go up. Obviously the economy is based off exports. A good, true, not housing. Housing is all Mickey Mouse. To understand what's going on, it's important to remember how current crisis came about. The financial crash here hit us exactly 10 years ago and now stopped all construction, both private and public. Property prices collapsed, builders went bust, construction workers immigrated, and private house building came to an abrupt halt. The collapse also ended social housing programs. The state was bankrupt, so it could no longer fund local councils to build social housing. For most of the last 10 years, no social housing was built. Those who can't stay with their parents, relatives, and friends end up being homeless. That's the scary part, guys. That's the scary part of this article. And are put into emergency accommodation paid for by the states while they wait for social housing to become available. Again, why can't people, or not why can't there be creation of jobs if there's so much manpower that's waiting? Why can't they create a good middle-class working, a good middle-class private working class? Not more government jobs, because that means nothing. Because they're just going to tax people more to pay these government employees. Private sector jobs. Up to 10,000 people now have declared themselves to be homeless. I read an article about that a few months ago in Ireland. It's so bad. There's tent cities popping all over Dublin. There's people sleeping rough everywhere. Adding to the pressure of the social housing lists, there are already very long. There are tens of thousands of these lists, wait time for years, even families with children. And the amount of children sleeping rough, I think it was 1,800 children sleeping rough, So this is very low. This is a novel, guys. But what's happening in Ireland is here's the 10 cities right here. Here you go. I read this article a while back for you guys. So, yeah, fair cost homes. For fair, you know what I'm saying? Last week, Minister of Housing, Eoghan Murphy, announced plans for the first cost of rental housing scheme, which is to be built in the incord area of Dublin. It will involve construction of about 470 homes, 30 for social housing, with the remainder available on a coast rental basis for rent to low and middle income workers earning about 50 large to 75,000 euros as a couple. It is expected that the rents will be up 25% below market rates. Long article, guys. So if you're living in Ireland, take a look at this, guys. I've been following what's been happening in Dublin, and it's been an absolute nightmare for most people. Imagine working, family, making 50,000 euros a year on average family, and you're homeless. A lot of the people, surprisingly, are homeless they have jobs. You know what I'm saying? And it's happening too in California, where a lot of people, like I was talking to a guy that works at the Home Depot, and he lives in a tent. He's completely homeless. And he has a gym membership, so he goes, uses the gym, showers every day, you know, stays healthy. But he says after paying his gym membership, after paying his food, leaves very little for rent. So he's got to live in a tent, you know. And provided the climate allows you to live in rough like that, you know what I'm saying? All right, let's move on. What is happening in the comments section? Margaret O'Brien says, I agree, the economy worldwide is so distraughted. Productive people are penalized and unproductive things are propped up. Margaret O'Brien says, I see Roy's social housing tends to end up being subsidized income source for wealthy landowners. Yeah, that's also been a rumor that's been going around too and been happening on record. AA says there is a tent city in Victoria, British Columbia, by the Uptown Mall. The homeless are shoplifting like crazy from the mall. I was at the mall the other day and saw a homeless man get arrested for shoplifting. Yeah, it happens, people. And yeah, I'll do some more Victoria articles, guys, for you guys. It's important because Victoria is out of control. A lot of boarded up houses, lots of empty homes, lots of cranes, lots of construction activity in Victoria. And a lot of people are fleeing Victoria because they can't afford. A lot of people went to Victoria because they could afford. And now a lot of people are leaving Victoria now because they can't afford. You know what I'm saying? So, comments from all over the world here, from this entire English-speaking world, guys. Thank you for joining me in Trends in the Housing Market. Today is the 9th day of August, guys. Where's the year going, guys? Where is this year going? Where is it headed, people? It is headed... It's headed to 2019. It's where it's heading. Brother John in the comment section, how are you, my brother? Thanks for being here. Means a lot to me. And okay, again, remember we're in the 10-year anniversary of the big housing crash that happened in the United States. So, housing crash, a distant memory for Seattle homeowners, Zillow says. Seattle now be the best time to sell in Seattle, considering more than 97% of homes are worth more now than the peak level before the housing market crash in 2008. Remember, guys, King County is one of the hottest housing markets in the United States of America. It's just on fire the last year and a half. Pretty much since Vancouver implemented their foreign buyers tax, a lot of people came south to Seattle, and a pile of people went east to Toronto. According to a new Zillow study released on Thursday, the median home value is 29.2% above the bubble peak level, with the average home worth $492,000, an 11.4% increase compared to a year ago. Unfortunately, the same can be said with rent, a 1.9% increase over the past year, and the median cost of $2,176 for rent. That's American dollars, people. That's like $2,630 Canadian. That's 2,176 American dollars. The rest of the housing market around the country is doing pretty well too, with half of all U.S. homes more valuable now than they were in 2008 recession. The median home value stands at $217 large. So the median home price in the U.S., I mean, people in Australia are looking at, wait, 200, ooh, this guy won jackpot. Nobody cares. Okay, the median home price, so people in Australia, New Zealand, and Canada are like, whoa, the median home value stands at $217,000 American? What? Yeah, guys, I could take you to Georgia. We could buy a nice log cabin for like 70 grand. Like a nice one, fully retrofitted, friggin' marble flooring. Oh man, I could tell you, I've been looking around, guys. I've been poking around, you know what I'm saying? Okay, where was I? Yeah, it stands at 217,000 large. That's 8.3% higher than last year. Home values have risen 8.4% since the height of the housing bubble. Similarly, 6 of the 35 largest housing markets, including 5 cities in Texas, Austin, San Jose, San Antonio, Dallas, Fort Worth, and Houston, and Denver, Colorado, have more than 95% of homes worth more now than pre-recession peak. Portland, Oregon comes in close with 94.8% of homes more valuable now. Remember, Portland, Oregon is just south of Washington State, where Seattle, a lot of Seattleites left Seattle, went south to Oregon, and a lot of Californians went north to Oregon, right? But there are many homes across major U.S. cities still struggling to recover from the last recession. Las Vegas remains one of the worst cities, with only 0.8% of homes more vulnerable before the crash. Orlando, Florida comes in second. Riverside, California, third. And Baltimore, Maryland, and Phoenix, Arizona, topping the list for the least valuable homes since the recession. Despite a widespread and consistent home value growth today, the scars of the recession still run deep for millions of longer-term U.S. homeowners, and it may take years of growth for their home to regain the value lost a decade ago. Zillow senior economist Aaron Terezas said, and while stabilizing growth in rents is like a relief for those renters saving to become homeowners, many of those would-be buyers in a number of nation's hottest markets would be contending with home prices that are high as they've ever been. That prices are as high as they have ever been. Sorry guys, it's 34 degrees centigrade. I'm hot. 35 degrees centigrade right now. I am doing my best to pull this show through for you guys. Housing crash distant memory for Seattle homeowners, Zillow says. So it's out of control there. I was watching some Seattle news thing about them talking about the housing crisis, and I'm like, oh, they're talking about the Vancouver, the word for word everything I said. Oh, then the investors went to Toronto, and the other investors went to Seattle. I'm like, hey, that's what I say. And then this, and then they bought out, and then the American Proper. Wait, American Proper, I say that too. It's like, whoa, somebody out there is watching these damn videos. Okay. Lots of the comment section from Roy Piñas says, the empty downturn in land suitable for pop-up homes. Tiny homes can't utilize either. Then Roy goes on to say, I think it goes behind central banks. You can't even make your home productive. Then Roy says that's due to government in general. Then Roy says you can't grow crops, sell it on your front lawn, or generate power supply to neighbors, etc. for a fee. Trevor says, the problem in BC, anywhere you can buy... The problem in BC is anywhere you can afford to live, there's no job anywhere. There's jobs you cannot afford to live. So basically what he's saying, if there's a job available, you can't afford to live. Do you remember that article I read for you guys this morning that on the CBC or Canadian Broadcast Channel, something, one of those, where there's a huge shortage of workers in the restaurant industry and the construction industry. There's jobs, but there's no one there. They can't afford to live. Never mind buying, rent. Runt is what I'm talking about. So let's move on, guys. Oh, God. So, very important article. Remember, guys, we're coming into the 10-year anniversary of the big housing market crash in the United States of America. And, man, was it ever a crash. It didn't fully crash because a lot of the banks were bailed out by people's pensions. And basically, the people that didn't play the game paid for the mess. Paid for the party, basically. The people that weren't at the party paid for the party, is what it was. All right, let's close this off and move on to the next. Oh, plug. My man, Walking Journey, 2-time world champ here. Oh, down in Texas. Guys, check him out. This is his other channel. He's got several channels. He's got a backup channel because he keeps getting flagged. I keep getting flagged, too. I keep getting problems with my channel, or some video that I made 7 years ago is against their guidelines. I checked the video. I'm like, I'm talking about air conditioning units. What are they talking about? You know what I'm saying? Then Roy saying, simply put, we need economic independence. That's what I did, guys. Watch my series, guys, on my channel. I'm going to do a quick plug for myself really quick here. Watch my series here. Game store business from scratch. Watch my business, my game store business, how I built a retail store, took this dump and fixed it, and watch my starting a home business from scratch. If you want to work from home and become independent, watch that series too, guys. It's really good. I promise you, it ain't boring. My Living the Dream series, leaving the big city and moving into the house I'm in right now. There's the house I'm in right now. And there it is right there. This is the house I'm broadcasting from. It's lots of bedrooms, lots of rooms, lots of bathrooms, lots of space. And good old $260,000 I bought it for. So check out my channel, guys, for that. So Walking Journey, plug for Walking Journey. I like this guy. He's got a clean soul. He's a good guy. He's a family guy. Check him out. Okay. So this one is kind of all these assumptions happening in Australia, and this basically people are answering. So is the market going to crash? Well, no, the market's not crashing because this, and this. Is the market going to go up? Yes, the market will go up because of this. So people are kind of debunking assumptions turned upside down. So this is from yesterday's date. And a lot of these articles, if you look, they kind of are comparable to every other English-speaking country that's happening right now in this housing crisis that's happening in every speaking English-speaking country in the world is following or the same patterns. Look at Jamaica. Oh my God, Jamaica! They don't even own their own highways in Jamaica. All the grocery stores, they don't even own them anymore. It's all foreign owned. Okay, guys, very hot here, but we must continue with the show. Trends in the housing market. Key housing market assumptions turned upside down. It's striking how quickly wide-held assumptions about the housing market can be turned on their heads, thanks to changes in sentiment on market conditions. This is the clearest in Sydney, Melbourne, where it wasn't that long ago that FOMO, fear of missing out, appeared to be driving prices higher. Do you remember the FOMO edition I did? The whole that FOMO edition, I mean, it should be like encrusted in gold, you know what I'm saying? After years of rapid growth, and the assumption that prices always would rise seemed to catch on with many, despite conventional measures suggesting housing was overvalued. Now, they say that if things were to get worse a lot more, we may have to get our heads around the new acronym, FONGO. FONGO. The fear of not getting out. Ooh, we gotta do a whole show of FONGO. As more people try to sell before prices fall further. FONGO was founded in 1700 BC. I'm just kidding. To be sure, we're not that at that point yet, but the fact it's like being talked about is stark illustration of how much things have changed. As prices have gone into reverse in the last year, people banking on capital gains have been given a reminder that investing can be a bumpy ride. Remember, guys, housing is investing now. It's no longer an asset where you buy and lay roots and raise a family and hold on to it, grow your equity, retire, enjoy your retirement, and enjoy your life. Unfortunately, that's not what the case is anymore. It's more of you're a business person now. You own a house. That's what they want to make it look like. They want to shadow it like that. You know why? So when it crashes, they like, well, it's a business investment. That happens to business all the time. And then you start to think, oh, well, yeah, you're right. Well, no, it's bad. It's not supposed to be happening. You know what I'm saying? So everyone's in the comment section. That's because that's because markets move movie cycles. It's so hot in here, guys. That's because markets move in cycles, and the size of these swings get accentuated by the emotions of people in the market. The cynical nature of property helps explain that what's happening in the housing market of Sydney and Melbourne today. It wasn't too long ago that it was commonly said both of the two cities had a severe housing shortage. Thanks to the strong demand for properties and insufficient supply, this mismatch bid up on prices. Remember, guys, I did a whole video called The Tale of Two Cities with Sydney and Melbourne, and we're talking about this. But markets have a way of self-correcting, and this is what's been happening lately. In particular, take a look at Sydney's rents. CoreLogic reported that Sydney's rents fell 0.4% in the last year, which is hardly drastic, but still the fastest decline they've spotted since they started recording this data about a decade ago. Why are rents falling if we've got housing shortage? Well, after the frantic buying and property investors in recent years, there's now a lot more rental stock on the market. CoreLogic's head of research, Tim Lawless, points that there's also less demand from the key type of tenant, those saving up to buy a home. Why? Because the slump in the prices means more first home buyers are finally able to afford to purchase their own home instead of renting one. Yeah, well, yeah, of course. What's more, he points out the market people are moving out of New South Wales. Remember, guys, wagons west if you're in Australia, and migration into Victoria has parked, further detracting from demand. There are also many more rental properties about to be supplied on the market after the record-breaking construction boom. Oh, this is a disaster. The disaster here is beyond you guys could ever imagine. None of these trends suggest rents are able to take off. Lawless thinks rents will probably gradually fall further in Sydney. Melbourne rents are still growing at 2.8%, but weakening in some pockets of the city. A weaker rental market is good news for tenants, but yet another negative force for property prices. Rents tend to get overlooked by investors to some extent when prices are rising. The latest boom crunched rental yields, how much a new buyer gets in rent as a proportion of purchase price to record lows. But when prices are falling, rental yields should start to matter more to prospective investors. That's very true, guys. So weakening rental market with near record low yields is yet another reason why house prices will probably remain soft for a while yet. The prospect of future Labor government curbing negative gearing will also make it less attractive for investors to buy an established property with very low rental returns. Remember, guys, a lot of people right now in Toronto, in Sydney, in London, in Vancouver are in a negative position right now with rent. So they're renting out their properties. Okay, so I'm talking about the homeowners that are renting, or the condo owners that are renting, are in a negative position right now. So they're paying $200 out of pocket to cover their nut. $600 out of pocket. There was one guy I spoke to that's paying $790 out of pocket because the strata fees went up, interest rates went up. So he's paying $790 out of pocket to cover his rental. So he's collecting his rent and having to put up almost $800 to cover his nut. So AMP chief economist Shane Oliver says it's possible investors will start to take more notice of the low yields, which may cause some to think about selling. He is tipping top to bottom price decline for about 15% in Sydney and Melbourne, which is not a crash. But if there were deeper declines, he says, there's a risk of FOMO becomes FONGO. Fear of getting out, or fear of not getting out. Yeah. Though the stresses were not at this point yet. Our housing markets have been through swings before, and they've recovered because when prices fall, a new group of buyers comes into the market. But this is a very different market because a lot of foreign money has been parking on the shores. Hasn't happened in this much magnitude in the last 150 years. Nothing's happened like this, you know what I'm saying? But Dr. Oliver points out that there are differences in this time around, such as the fact that prices got much higher in the boom, and there are a lot of units set to come onto the market in some areas. That suggests that could take longer for prices to recover than in the past. So that's that. So yeah, I'm wearing boxer shorts right now and an undershirt, guys. It's 35.6 degrees centigrade in this room. And yeah, to air condition the house, it's gonna require me 3 units to air condition the house. I looked into it. There's too many rooms. And that's the cost of operation when you have a house that's big. But I have a big family, right? I got another kid on the way, by the way, if you guys don't know. We had to cancel our wedding because we're going to do it next year. Okay, this is another one. So remember, guys, we're heading into we're in the 10-year anniversary of the Great American Housing Crash. If you guys remember that. Half of U.S. homes are now more vulnerable than before the real estate bubble burst. Oh God. Let's play this video. It's got cartoons in it. I want to watch cartoons.
Cities and community groups are looking into community land trusts as a tool because they're facing affordability crisis all over the country. And part of the reason is that markets have been left to do what markets do, which is to go up or down at will. And the community land trust is really trying to take the house out of that kind of up and down and keep it in a more stable situation.
Lovely. How can we afford it?
One of those reading ones, so I'm going to read it for you guys. It's going to flag my video probably. But here goes. I'm going to read it for you guys. This is the video. Lady's like, oh, wow, how can we afford this? 63.4 national homeownership rate is the lowest since 1966. Grounded, a solutions network, is a nonprofit organization provides technical assistance to address the affordableness in housing. Okay, are they talking here?
Having permanently affordable housing.
Okay, let's do this again, guys. This music is going to flag my video.
Community Land Trust is a nonprofit organization. It serves a specific community generally, and they have a board that's made up of people from that area who have a vested interest in having permanently affordable housing. And they do that by either acquiring or building or renovating a home. And when they sell that home, they are selling only the home itself. The land underneath, the CLT retains ownership of. So someone who is lower moderate income and who may not be able to qualify for a house, for a mortgage on their own, in this kind of a program, the total price is much lower. And in exchange for that lower price, the owner agrees that when they decide to sell the house, there will be restrictions on how much they can sell it for. And that relationship is governed by a ground lease. The Community Land Trust is doing
really weird video, guys. It's about community land trusts where you don't own the land. I've heard about this, and basically they own the land, and yeah, let's move on. It sounds very shady to me. It sounds good on paper, but yep, exactly. Trevor Maynard says, to quote the late Admiral Akbar, "It's a trap." That's exactly what that is. So let's move on from that trap. Holy smokes. I hope that crap music doesn't flag my video. I'll be so mad if it flags my video. I'm going to have to download the video and re-upload it. And then remove the music. So mad. Anyways, let's keep going here. Only Generation X households' wealth has recovered since the housing crash. That's just a small article here. Generation X, from the people that were born between 65 and 1980, have recovered from the housing crash. Remember, guys, we're in the 10-year anniversary that the crash took place in the United States of America. There's another Seattle one. I actually read something similar. Yeah, I read something similar to this earlier. The U.S. house market looks headed for its worst slowdown in years. Let's zoom this out. It's too zoomed in. Yeah. Yeah, I read something like this earlier in the show. I don't know what this crap is. Ooh, CNN. The 2 recession warning signs are here. Housing market. Let's look at some fake news, guys, on CNN here.
What for you is the biggest concern economically at the moment? Is it trade tariffs?
I think right now one of the biggest concerns, one of the main sectors that we're watching is the housing market. The housing market is throwing up a very large red flag, in our opinion, suggesting that maybe this 4% gain that we saw in the second quarter is not sustainable.
Okay. Which part of the housing market, what number, home starts, home purchases, average price, which number is giving you some concern?
Well, I think there's several. If we look at home sales have actually been on the decline for 5 of the past 6 months, but also one of the biggest concerns is that as we're seeing home price appreciation continue to rise, incomes are very stagnant. So we're seeing a growing divide between the cost of a home and the ability for the average American to afford that home purchase. Now, we're not there yet, but it's eerily similar to what we saw leading up to the housing crash.
Right, but that only is relevant if people are over leveraging to borrow to meet that differential. If all that's happening is people then move to the rental market, which is what used to happen in the old days, then that sort of solves the problem.
It would solve the problem. We're not seeing that yet. We're seeing consumers taking on a considerable amount of debt, continuing to ratchet that higher and higher. In fact, we've seen debt now reach the highest level in the past several years.
Let's talk about this. How did this happen? How? Because, sorry, I know it's a naive question, and maybe we should be a little more detailed in this program, but at the end of the day, those of us who've still got the scars of 2008, 2009, who covered that crisis, how did we end up 10 years later with debt levels almost at record levels and debt being a problem again?
Well, I don't know if we learned our lesson during the Great Recession. A lot of consumers felt as if they got a little bit of a bailout. They got a helping hand. They walked away from their home purchase when it was underwater. So I don't know if we really felt enough pain for the psychology of the consumer to change. And we went right back to the borrowing patterns that we were used to prior to the financial crisis.
So what should we look forward to now as we look at the housing market in terms of, I mean, providing the bonds and the sub-bonds and the mezzanine bonds underpinning these things have been properly insured and properly distributed, then this should not be systemic risk. And macroprudentially, we should be okay.
That's a good point. But again, when we look at how consumers are borrowing, we are going back to a lot of the easy lending conditions that we did see. 0% down is becoming more and more fashionable. Now, we're not necessarily back to the no-doc days that we once saw, but 0% down does suggest that maybe they're not properly leveraged.
Are you acting as a canary in the mine for us today?
Well, I do think there's concern for the U.S. economy, not just from housing, but from the consumer, from business investment. There are signs of waning momentum, still positive, but we're losing momentum.
Join me, Richard Quest, on cnnmoney.com.
That guy has an insane voice. Someone said in the comment section, oh yeah. So that's that. So basically, there's the warning signs are here, and you're getting top economists weighing in on that. Let's move on. The Sacramento Bee. Amid price, Sacramento County homes cost $362,000. See what you get for that. Home affordability hits 10-year low in California. Same goes for Sacramento region. Wow. Yeah, affordability in California is just... Let's watch the video. It's a lot of reading here. Let's watch the video, guys. More music. More music. All right, let's move on. We've been following Sacramento for a while. The state... As SC teachers mass exodus, you'll hear about how it's about to hit your child's school. So where is this? Is 2 days ago. Was that South Carolina? Columbia, South Carolina? SC. So I brought this article up because teachers can't afford to live where they are, and the salary cap is not working out. And a lot of in the Crenshaw County schools, I think that's in South Carolina. I think it is, but that's what's happening there. Newberry School District knew that finding teachers for 28 school year could pose problems. Again, affordability is where it's at. If people can't afford to live, they're just gonna leave, right? And city's desperate attempt to fight Seattle cop mass exodus. Again, guys, I brought this one up because the city of Seattle police officers and doctors and a lot of public servant workers for the public sector workers, garbage men and stuff, they're all leaving. They just are finding other like a lot of people are sleeping at work from what I heard. So a lot of people commenting on videos from the past year. Wow. That's that. And what does this say? Sen Harris bill offer relief for struggling renters. So there's another California thing they're trying to pass to help renters out. Another nightmare in the works. How irresponsible mortgage lenders created the second housing bubble. This is by Logan Kane. It's from 2 weeks ago, and we discussed this many times on the show. Very informative graphs here for you guys to check out. There's the price. I opened this because it has the price appreciation of the 5-year home price appreciation by state. And this shows you here. And look at New Mexico with 15 points, very low. Texas is going. Oklahoma's down. The whole middle part of the United States, just west of the Mississippi, is within affordability range right there. I could see here. But California, forget it. Nevada's out of control. Oregon, Washington. Even Montana's getting up there. Look at Utah. Holy crap. Colorado is on fire too. And then you got Massachusetts. Where's Massachusetts here? There it is. 31%. I know Massachusetts is pretty high too. Yeah, it's one of the higher ones here, Massachusetts. Of the West Coast, it's one of the higher ones. Yep. Good luck living in Boston nowadays. Behold, the scariest chart of the stock market. Ooh. Wow. S&P, price versus sales. I don't know why I brought that up, guys. Anyways, guys, I've been talking for an hour and 40 minutes. Hopefully my video doesn't get flagged for that stupid music in the middle of the show. I'd be pretty upset. But that's my house, guys. Watch my Living the Dream series. Take a tour of my life and what I got going on. I got lots of cool things going on here. I try to keep my channel as vanilla and very diverse as possible so I don't become a target. There's trends in the housing market. All of the past shows are here if you're bored. Housing crisis shows. I put up a couple of clips here and there. Rants and lifestyle. Just me and the family and what's going on. Just my Alex Jones video. And then game store business from scratch. Opening a game store. That's amazing, man, if you guys are bored. Starting a home business from scratch. Making extra money on the side with your downtime. Living the Dream series. Me leaving the city and moving to... And my video game reviews. I do this because I kind of want to balance my channel so it's not so... You know, there's my adventures with Antonio here. And yeah. Family is the most important thing to me, guys. Family is the most important thing. And I really wanted to give my kids a good foundation. A good, strong roots. A good understanding. Of a good healthy understanding and growing up and kind of you know have a place they could call home type of thing, you know, a place they could look back on when they get older and said, yeah, we were raised in a normal home, and yeah, both my parents were married, yeah. And anyways, guys, look at my older videos. A lot of people asking me questions all the time about certain things. There's a lot of videos that answer a lot of the questions already here. Vancouver going into 18-year low housing crisis. Are Chinese to blame for the housing bubble? There's another one here that's pretty popular that I did right here. Seattle housing crisis, Chinese buying up, dries up. Check out that video. Yeah, check me out, guys. See what I got going on. Every day there's something going on in my life, or there's always something, some drama that's happening. Anyways, guys, I gotta go. I'm really hot. It's 35 degrees. 34, it dropped a bit, but it's hot. Let me know what you guys think. And I appreciate you guys tuning in and commenting. Don't forget next Wednesday to tune in to Trends in the Housing Market with your host, Mike Martins. Thanks for watching.